Hello and welcome to Howling at the Moonsault episode 3, 1,
Mm.
The Return, 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Yes,
We're not really
yes.
sure at the moment, but yes, we are back, we are alive. I know it's been like multiple years since we last did one. I don't know, partly in unavailability, partly lack of arst.
Laziness.
Yeah, laziness, yeah. But yeah, but we're back, hopefully going to try and do something a bit more regular. The keyword is hopefully. Um, And as it's Elimination Chamber, tomorrow or today, depending on when we upload this, as you listen to this, or well, you
Or
necessarily,
yesterday.
or yesterday,
Probably not.
yeah, or, or, or at any point in the future. I don't know.
Yeah.
Could be in listen to it in 2020, 2037, where the walls probably
Wow.
fall crumbling under our feet.
That's scary.
Yeah, that is a bit scary. We're doing Elimination Chamber, and thanks to our lovely co-host Eloise, we're doing Elimination Chamber 2017. Which is a bit of an area that generally area is an area that's a bit uncovered by people who go back and watch wrestling pay-per-views in general. Because I think even though it's 8 years ago, which still makes me feel a bit old, um,
Yeah.
is it is like it's almost too recent in people's minds. Uh,
Mhm.
Plus, it is also not a good piece of wrestling in general in WWE.
Nope.
And as you'll see on this pay-per-view, some of the matches, yeah, yeah, this is a This some of it isn't good. Some of it is good. It's always been the case with this period. I think whenever I started watching during this period, it was always like there was always the actual wrestlers sort of held their own and ended the bargain. Whereas the creative did very much did not.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and I think we'll all agree on that front. So, so Elimination Chamber 2017, which was on the it was on the 12th of February 2017. So quite a bit in the one this year. I'm sure they must have had the Rumble around middle of October, middle of January. Yes, October Rumble. Yes,
Oh, yeah.
yes. I don't know why I said October.
Yeah, no,
Um,
they probably had the Rumble in January like you should do.
yeah,
Like this year. Rumble 2017.
Yeah, they probably had it basically at a normal time rather than the slightly pushed back
Oh,
one we had this year for was that a first?
29th of January was the Rumble in 2017. So
Oh, okay.
it was quite a
Okay.
quick turnover.
Yeah, it's quite a quick turnover, and that might be partially down to this is in the era of the brand
Yeah.
split pay-per-views. So we would
Probably why.
have a basically a show every other weeks, in effect. I believe the pay-per-view after this one for Raw was Fastlane. Then it was Mania, I think. Off the top of my head. Can't remember what happened in Fastlane. Presumably, don't know. Brock Lesnar was on there probably because he was around this time where he was
Uh,
knocking around. Um, yeah, so 12th of February 2017, we are in the Phoenix, Arizona at the Talking Stick Resort Arena, which is a fantastic name. I'm going to presume this has been called something in the past. Now, there's another PHX arena, which is some crypto thing. Is it PHX? No, it's not a crypto thing. It just means Phoenix. Fair enough.
well, that was some.
Yes. Yeah, and Eloise, how many other pay-per-views did this arena hold before this one?
Am I guessing?
Yeah, so this arena opened in 1992.
Okay, 1992. It's in Phoenix, so it's irrelevant.
Wow.
No one interesting lives in Phoenix. That was definitely not a dig at my friend Blake,
Yes. Hello, Blake.
who is also irrelevant. No, or Badger. All right,
Yeah.
so 92.
Did
Are you talking about like pay-per-views or PLEs?
this is so as far as I can tell, they've only had one other, I guess, would have been a PLE after this. and I'll just let you know that was NXT. That was an NXT takeover.
Okay, so are you counting just PLEs?
Yeah. So
Okay,
basically,
so
it was before. It would have been before this one.
I'd say like 5 as opposed to 5.
Yep, pretty much spot on. There were 5 before this one. So
5 before, okay.
yeah. So there was SummerSlam 2003, Judgment Day 2006, Cyber Sunday 2008, everyone's favorite.
Oh no.
Money in the Bank 2012, which was the one after the good one, and the Royal Rumble in 2013, which I think was the Rock Punk one. Yeah, it was the Rock Punk one in the main event. So a bit of a
What, the Royal Rumble?
yeah, the Royal Rumble one. Yeah. And I think that was Rock Punk in the main event, leading up to
Yeah,
the
and
once in a lifetime, now twice in a life.
Cena won it, didn't he?
Yes, I think
Cena won the Rumble.
yes. Yes, and leading up to once in a lifetime, now twice in a lifetime.
Very
And
much so.
yeah, and who knows? It might be thrice in a lifetime by the time some people have heard this.
Hmm.
Um,
No.
right. So, what's happening in the general world of wrestling for this year? So let's consult the wonderful archive that is Big Dave's Wrestling Observer.
Big Dave.
Yeah, Big Dave. Of course, being observer to various things, questionable reliability at times, but this is it, like I would say, this is probably the best gotta get some news from. To be honest, at least it's a relatively good aggregator, if nothing else. So main headline is nothing to do with SmackDown. Seth Rollins is injured. What a shock! He only fucked his medial collateral ligament, which is some form of something in his leg. In a
It's a ligament.
it is indeed a ligament. It was
It is. Oh, CMCL. It's directly in the knee. It looks like one of. It looks like right at the bot, like right to the side. So yeah, if you fuck that, then yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and of course, with Seth Rollins Seth Rollins' offense being mainly leg based, stomping people involves a lot of knee work. So I was on a roll a couple of weeks before this. There's been no real confirmation about how badly he's injured at this point. But it is known that he was taken off the next pay-per-view, which is Fastlane. His way is meant to face Samoa Joe, which I don't think did he ever face since. Probably have done.
Probably. Yeah, because was that at Fastlane?
So he was meant to face him at Fastlane, but this was a spot on Raw a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
And they were also teasing he'll be off from WrestleMania 33, which I believe he faces Triple H at that pay per view. So I'm guessing he does a big recovery thing.
Oh wait, so you said he was gonna face Samoa Joe, right?
Yeah.
At Fastlane. He then ended up facing Sami Zayn, Samoa Joe instead.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
And I'm looking.
It's not bad replacement.
Oh, I was like, because I'm looking at the Fastlane card of 2017, and it looks okay. There's some good matches on there, like Samoa Joe, Sami Zayn, Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, Big Cass Enzo. That was all right. There's a couple duds, and there's like Neville versus Jack Gallagher was pretty good on it.
Yeah,
and I'm like, Roman Reigns Braun was good. Bailey Sharp was okay. I was like, why is this card getting so heavily hated? And then I see Goldberg defeats Kevin Owens in 22 seconds.
God. Oh Jesus! I genuinely forgot that happened, which I guess makes sense for the Goldberg Lesnar thing at Mania. But that was a thing, wasn't it?
That's why they rate on Cage Matches rated 2.38 out of 10 because Goldberg.
Yeah.
Goldberg.
I'm presuming was the Braun Roman one an ambulance match, or was that later on? Because the whole I think this was the time where Braun was I'm not finished with you, man, and terrorizing Roman Reigns with on stretchers. Been happening relatively recently before this.
I'm sure I'll have a look.
Whilst you're looking it up, there's a couple more injury bits. Austin Aries is also injured, so sad, and Nikki Bella is also suffering from neck issues, but both should be okay for Mania. So I believe Aries faces off against Neville at Mania in a cruiserweight match on the pre-show, I think. And then Nikki Bella has her tag match with Cena against the Miz and Maurice, which ended in Cena proposing to her in a spot that's now a little bit awkward, with them forcing. I think there was something or something like that. Yeah, fun. and that, my friend, is why you don't really want to do real life wedding angles on pay-per-views.
Yeah,
because they rarely ever turn out
good. Especially when you're not actually with the person.
Yes. So.
So I also had a look at when the ambulance match was, and that wasn't the ambulance match. The ambulance match was in July.
Okay.
At
Great Balls of Fire.
Great Balls of Fire.
Yes. 2017 is such a banner year for wrestling, isn't it?
Yeah.
What a year!
It's certainly a year.
Speaking of a company who is definitely having a banner year, actually, is New Japan Pro Wrestling, where Dave basically did a big old long review of it. Unsurprisingly, he quite liked it, but he didn't think it was as good as the most of the shows to do. I think he rated the main event 4 and 3 something, as it was a 40-minute card match. So, what do you expect?
Carter.
Yes, and big long matches Dave loves. But yeah, that's. I think it. I'm not entirely sure about New Japan, but I think a New Beginning is basically like the big show post their Wrestle Kingdom thing. So I suppose it's like a backlash or something like that. So I guess they can take it a little bit easy for that one. Some I guess sad news. There's a few deaths on here, but people I didn't really recognise. But something that came up was Ivan Koloff is basically on his last legs. He's apparently had liver problems for multiple years and has kept it a secret while still wrestling and making signing appearances, which is certainly a way of doing it. But it appears to be getting to a point where he's sort of like having a liver failure. So yeah, he doesn't have long left. I believe he passes away a couple of weeks later.
A week.
Yeah,
18th of Feb. So literally a week later.
Yeah, and I guess in a big shock, Cole had drug and alcohol abuse issues, which is a problem that a lot of wrestlers suffer with, seemingly up until recently. And I would obviously
he was 74 though, so
yeah. So he managed he survived a decently long time, considering he was wrestling in the 80s and late 70s and 80s, which was very much filled with rampant drugs, etc.
Drugs, alcohol, roids.
Yeah, everyone's favourite.
Everyone's favourite.
Yeah, and as per usual for Dave, he kind of does a somewhat comprehensive career review of Koloff, which I believe after he dies, he'd probably do like a massive long obituary, because that's one thing Dave is good at. He does do good obituaries. They are very long, but very comprehensive. So, yes. So very much a wrestling historian. Really, more than news guy. I'd say probably nowadays more than anything, really.
Yeah, less said than that, the better, because some very very good at picking up dodgy stories that aren't true.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Fortunately.
Speaking of things that are not really that are Dave is obsessed with, MMA. He dedicates a lot to the Observer to MMA. Don't really know about anything about MMA, but I picked on this bit because there's a guy called the Korean Zombie.
Yeah.
I'm sure you know of him, because
I was very much waiting, because I could very much tell you stuff around this time. Yeah, the Korean Zombie was I forgot what his name is, but that was what he was called, because he just wouldn't go down.
Yeah,
he was ridiculously good. Chang Sung Young, yeah, featherweight.
Yeah, he was brought up because he was basically making his UFC return after doing military service, which obviously South Koreans
Yeah,
have to do.
yeah, that makes sense.
And he beat someone called Dennis Bermudez, who, from looking at his record, was a bit worse than him in the main event of the UFC show. By knockout in the first round, so presumably it was
Yeah.
just an easy win to get him warmed up.
Easy comeback, which is kind of what you need.
Yeah.
Is just an easy comeback to get back in.
Yeah,
Sacrifice someone who's worse than you.
Yeah, yeah. I imagine it's a lot worse if you've been out for basically a year doing something else. Yeah. Back to the wrestling. The Hall of Fame stuff is being announced around this time. I believe before this we had Kurt Angle inducted, or was planning to be inducted, announced to be inducted. And this week the Rock and Roll Express were inducted, were announced to be inducted. Sorry, into the Hall of Fame this year. And again, another usual comprehensive career respected by Dave. But yeah, the Rock and Roll Express, I think they're still going, aren't they?
I don't think they're wrestling, but they're very much still on wrestling TV, because I think AW used them.
Yeah.
And I know they were very much I think Ricky was very much used on NWA a lot as well.
Yeah. I have some bad news. They wrestled last year in June.
What promotion?
It was an indie show. I think it was some.
I mean, I'm not surprised they still wrestle. I think I heard something about them wrestling, but nothing on TV yet.
Yeah.
But
when you say that, the show they did before that was Joe Janela Spring Break, which is not a surprise. That tends to be a thing where they just bring back random people. And I presume who's he with? They were against Speedball. Speedball Mike Bailey was one of them in the opposing team.
Also, did you know who was in the Hall of Fame? Because I've found who was in the Hall of Fame.
So Kurt Angle was mentioned in the Observer before.
Kurt Angle's the main one.
Yeah. Can't remember what else.
Teddy Long.
Hello.
Yeah. DDP. Last page. So Kurt Angle was inducted by John Cena. Teddy Long was inducted by the APA.
Well, that makes sense because Teddy Long was the manager of Doom, which was Ron Simmons' WCW thing before he became champ.
DDP was inducted by Eric Bischoff.
Okay, that's not surprised. Yeah, I think the reason why DDP got into the wrestling business was he was in the same gym as Eric Bischoff, something like that.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beth Phoenix was inducted by Natalia.
Okay.
Ravishing Rick Rude.
Okay, I'm surprised he wasn't.
Which was posthumous, obviously.
Yeah.
Was inducted by Ricky Steamboat.
Okay.
Obviously, the Rock and Roll Express. Who do you think inducted the Rock and Roll Express?
Terry Funk.
No, okay, it's someone that was more of a manager role and.
Oh, Jim Cornette.
Yes.
Yeah.
Obviously, like, come on.
Yeah, that was something that would the actually did mention that, actually, thinking about it. Like Dave was wondering whether Jim Cornette would show up because the relationship between him and WWE has never been the best. But yeah, he's been he must have showed up, which is good. Was there anyone else at that point?
So there was a Warrior Award for for someone called Eric Legrand, who was a Rutgers University football player who was paralyzed during a game in 2010, who then became a motivational speaker. So that was the Warrior Award. And then they did like a few legacy ones as well. Like Martin Burns was that's like
I'm guessing
early 1900s. June Byers, Haystacks Calhoun.
Okay.
Judy Grable, Dr. Jerry Graham, Luther Lindsay,
Hmm.
Toots Mont, Ricky Dozan, and
Okay.
Bearcat Wright.
Okay. They just
They were all kind of legacy, which I assume they've stopped doing.
Yeah. But as far as they have, but at the same time, I guess they've kind of run out of the root name as
Run
well.
out of the ones that
Yeah.
that should be in.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that. At least I couldn't remember. I'd say that's probably hmm, one of the stronger classes, maybe.
It's all right. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's. I mean, nowadays they kind of don't make them as strong as they could be because they don't want to like run out
Yeah.
of names. But
Yeah, they need to. I think they probably sort of blew the load a bit earlier than they wanted to. Just sort of. I do remember some of the early ones were quite stout. I guess they're just trying to pace themselves now, as you say.
Mhm.
That's, uh, going back to news. Something I did send you earlier about Tommy Dreamer suffering an eye injury when playing with his dog, uh, which is which sounds
uh,
fun. But then Dave says Dreamer says it was the most pain he's ever been in his life, which is a bit worrying considering
it's just
Dreamer's been hit with fucking barbed wire
it's
and exploding ring probably
yeah,
organs.
it's concerning considering his career and considering for fun he'd
Mm.
play Tommy Ball in the
Yeah, oh yeah,
locker room,
oh yeah. Oh, Jesus.
and that's apparently less pain than your
Um,
eye.
yeah. To be fair, I'd imagine scratching your cornea would
It
put
would.
you in a lot of pain.
It'd be annoying because it'd just be there. It'd
Yeah,
just be there, and it just wouldn't go away. So yeah,
yeah,
no, I can see it. It's just still.
yeah. Yeah, from what I looked at Cage match, I don't think Dreamer missed much in the way of wrestling because of that. He was still going, so I'm assuming he just kind of did what they always do and just miss a weekend, and just go back to doing it. Yeah. Speaking of indie shows, the Hardys showed up on an indie show for MCW, and they defended the TNA tag titles in a title match versus the MCW, which is Missouri Championship Wrestling. Mississippi,
Is
one of the
it
two.
is it Maryland?
Probably
Wait,
Maryland. It's one of those states to begin with. Where obviously the hardest one because
yeah, I'm pretty sure
they,
it's Maryland.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I believe at this point, because they showed up at Mania 33 in the ladder match, so I'm presuming there mustn't be long for TNA at this point either.
Hmm.
But they are still tag champs, so I'm guessing they must do some sort of quick switcheroo. And we'll actually get a bit more into that later because there's quite a bit of TNA news. So a bit, Kevin Nash is having another surgery. Which apparently is his 31st operation, which a bit depressing.
That's not good.
Yeah, wrestling. Bret Hart is recovering from prostate cancer surgery and is back in the gym. I believe from what was written in his they caught Bret's one early, but I believe his brother was a bit further advanced.
No.
But Bret's always been able to recover and do wrestling appearance things
Yeah.
after that.
Mhm.
And it's just a little interesting note from, I guess, the European section. Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate were pulled from a WXW show. I believe it was their 16 carat tournament thing they do around this time period by WWE, which I think must have been they were under contract post the UK Championship tournament because I don't think NXT UK was knocking around at this point.
Yeah, it would have been around that time. They maybe would have been under contract.
Yeah, like I think they had, weren't they? They were initially on NXT for a little bit before going back over to, well, I guess going to NXT UK.
Yeah.
Being
So
segmented over there.
NXT UK started October 2018.
Okay.
So
So I presume they signed up all the people they wanted and let them do, well, I guess not approved indie shows, which I'm guessing WXW was not.
yeah, it was.
Um,
Yeah, they very much were doing house show. Like I'm just looking at Tyler Bate and some house shows and NXT. So yeah. Oh, Mustache Mountain, right, with Trent
yep.
Seven. So yeah, so they were very much NXT, so it makes sense that they were pulled.
Yeah,
Vince didn't like indies.
I think from when I looked at it, they were doing some these shows on this point, but it might have been too early. Like that, they might have had like a
I can see he's done a few like
yeah. Could it again? It's probably just not a
wow.
WWE approved thing.
I've just seen it says in 2018 he ended up doing a WXW show. So it was British Strong Style, Pete Dunne, Trent Seven, Tyler Bate versus Ringkampf, Axel Dieter Jr., Timothy Thatcher, and Walter.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah,
that is big choppy boys.
Yeah,
big choppy boys.
Was Walter signed to WWE at the point? Might have been.
He was definitely NXT UK, but I don't know if
yeah. So that was them just allowing them to have.
Yeah, I'm presuming they must have eventually got
maybe
some form of agreement with him because
he first wrestled NXT UK in January, so I think they might have had some agreement, but
okay,
he wasn't in 2018, so yeah.
Okay, better. All right. Wee woo, wee woo, wee woo. Jeff Jarrett's here again.
Yes, something nuts.
Jeff Jarrett is apparently back in TNA as the main guy, which was literally a quote from Dave. And he's brought his boys Dutch Mantel and Scott Lamore in his doing creative stuff. So this was post GFW, or GFW was going on at the same time. So I'm presuming this is part of some planned merger that they're going to try and do between GFW and TNA. Although there was quite a lot of overlap anyway, from memory. And Jared is apparently looking up at apparently doing his usual thing of trying to expand his empire, I guess, and looking up certain relationships with Trash, which is approaching Mexico. I've never heard of. They seem to be like a lower upper indie promotion, I guess, in Mexico. Noah in Japan, and Water Sport in the UK.
Water Sport, yeah.
Which would have been certainly something to see, Jeff Jarrett on UK TV. I think
so it was when they were on TV, right?
Yeah, I think World of Sport was pre NXT UK because they basically told the sport people.
Was it? Oh wait, World of Sport.
Could have been
10 episodes. So they did a 2-hour special in 2016, and they did a 10-episode series in 2018.
Okay.
And a 6-8 live tour in 2019. Which I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure some of them would have been. But yeah, so
okay, makes sense. TNA, presumably even with bringing back Jarrett, they're doing the usual big cutting cost thing they do every couple of years. And there are 2 names mentioned that are not signed to a new deal, which is the Hardys, as I mentioned, and Drew Galloway. Unsurprisingly, both of them just turned up in WWE in a couple of months. With Galloway going to NXT and Hardy's doing at Mania, of course. And nothing happened to either of those people since.
No, never heard of Drew Galloway.
Yeah. I wonder what became of him. He probably just went about twice ECW, didn't he?
Yeah, he's just
speaking of the UK, Fighting with My Family. Remember that film? That has apparently just been starting production. It basically the Paige film, the one where it was based off a documentary from Channel 4, but it's basically a sort of fictionalized Paige and her family in the wrestling stuff.
Wow, how interesting!
Yes, but it popped up because The Rock's in it, and this is the start of production, and it's a bit of a coup to get The Rock and being WWE Studios film. I get the feeling this is probably one of their most successful films they've ever done. WWE, like in terms of like gross, like money when he got in, because it was like relatively well promoted in the UK at least. I remember seeing it as like advertised. And the thing it was like this was released like a couple of years after this, like 2019, something like that. Yeah. Also, still on the subject of Paige, unfortunately. Something I never knew about. Alberto Del Rio apparently said Paige was going to go into MMA after she left WWE.
What?
I didn't know that either. Obviously, Alberto and Paige were Goof at the time.
See, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, and then Alberto was apparently some spokesperson for basically Mexican, I guess, MMA promotion. So I think the plan was basically just to bring in Paige as a favor to him, I'm guessing. But yeah, I'm guessing this went nowhere very quickly. But I also can't really imagine Paige doing any actual fighting. She never struck me as the type of a wrestler to really do that. I suppose maybe it could just be the general character of Paige, but yeah, certainly would have been interesting.
So
Hmm.
Alberto Rodriguez used to obviously be, which is obviously Del Rio, used to be a MMA fighter.
Okay.
He did, how many fights is that? That is 14 fights. Some of them was in Deep, which is in Japan. He wrestled 5 at Deep, 3 wins, 2 losses, and then he did 2 at Pride, which is one of the bigger ones at the time.
Okay.
This was 2001 to 2004, and this time he was
So this was pre
doing MMA.
Okay.
He lost twice in Pride, and then went to random companies in Mexico and Honduras between 2006 2010, and picked up wins here or there before losing in 2010 in Spain to a Japanese fighter called Mamoru Yamamoto, and then returned in 2019 at Combat Americas in whereabouts is this? It's in the US to fight Tito Ortiz, which is Tito Ortiz. You should know Tito Ortiz.
Yeah, TNA legend.
And very much it says result overturned. So
steroids or some form of drugs, allegedly, maybe.
Originally a submission win for Ortiz. The result of the fight was later changed to a no contest by the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation, pending an investigation.
Okay.
Following Ortiz's submission of a doctor's note for the prohibited substance found in his urine sample.
Okay.
Texas restored the original win. Okay, so it was returned, but it was still a loss. It wasn't. Okay. So yeah, he still lost to Tito, which But yeah, that was his last fight. But yeah, so if you didn't know, he wasn't just involved; he actually did fight MMA. Like,
okay, to be honest, I actually didn't know if Phil fought before he sort of did wrestling stuff.
Yeah,
that was
he was actually legitimate.
Fair enough. Speaking of, I guess, real sports, I'm not going to go into the full details, but basically, right after this, Dave discussed a document about the XFL that was released on NBC or something like that, and it's basically the classic 4-page, single paragraph long thing he tends to do, where he just goes through every single inaccuracy that pops up in that documentary and sort of talks about how people are spinning things, because obviously it was, from what he said, it was mainly focused around the other guy involved, who I've forgotten the name of, not Vince, but Vince was interviewed for it and said the usual half truths.
Yeah.
In the products, but I'm going to. It was 4 pages. And it was a big long paragraph. I really could not be asked reading it. And second to last thing, we have some WWE trials this week. So it's partially sort of general athletes from college sort of thing, but they're also trying out some people for the Mae Young Classic, which is happening the next year. So there was a few women's wrestlers who were tried out who popped up in the Mae Young Classic for like a couple matches or two. But I've sort of filtered out a few notable names, and I think I might have to rely on you for the first one. Isaiah Stanback. He was a NFL player who played for the Giants when they won the Super Bowl. Never really played because he was on the practice squad.
Yeah, don't recognize him.
Okay. The next one
Exists.
He does indeed exist. I'm assuming, and he never really got anywhere in wrestling. The next one is Tevin Beckham, who is the cousin of the other Beckham in the other football, which is
an actual. Yeah. I thought you were talking about like Odell Beckham Jr. Who
it was a cousin of Odell, yeah.
Yeah.
Who I don't think ever got picked up by an NFL team. He obviously didn't get picked up by WWE, but he has been on Booker T's reality wrestling promotion since.
Okay.
I think he's some form of wellness influencer thing on various things.
You threw me off. You threw me off by saying football as American football, so it threw me off like.
It's going to be
David.
Yeah, it's going to be Romeo Beckham trying a new sport. Yeah, that's a deep cut. Somebody's another I don't even definitely recognise Lance in Hawaii. He popped up in this tryout.
He's very much much in the PC now. Like,
yes, he was signed middle of last year, but he was injured, so he's not to debut yet. And yes, I think the expectation of everyone is he's going to pop up in the Bloodline storyline at some point.
I hope he gets a Solo Socorro treatment I hope he gets a good stint in NXT instead of. I don't feel like the storyline requires him to necessarily go in immediately like a solo. You know, I feel like he can have time in NXT and he'd be great in NXT. So
but do this like is it like you don't need to put all the stories in one storyline. I kind of think they'll try and get him involved in some way, just because he's one of Rikishi's many kids.
Yes. So many. Like the other day, I forgot who it was. Just one turned up on the and like was on the Indies team. Like how many? Like
he loved the shag. He really loved the shag. First, one of the. There's sort of like a list of a few women athletes they tried out. None of them ever came to anything, but one of them highlighted was a woman who I think it's Tatiana Kavaleva from Belarus, who was 6'5", so
you can't teach that.
You can't teach that. Yes, yes. Which Dave mentioned basically would tower over every single other woman.
It's not like who's this? She's like 6'9" on the original NXT.
Oh, Oksana.
Yes,
it was the Lithuanian one, wasn't
it?
Who was there, and then just they told us to bugger off for like after like 1 week.
It was
Was it Oksana?
Alyosha.
Oh, that yeah.
Who was? I think she also wrestled as Isis the Amazonian, and she was meant to be a Vicky, and then she was released a few weeks after her signing, after WWE discovered erotic photos taken of her.
Yeah, fun.
Yeah. So
yeah, someone who is still around WWE now is I'll tell you her real name, Kennedy Brink. It's a lass. Okay. She's not a wrestler.
Oh.
One
of the referees?
She's one of the referees, yeah.
Is it Jessica?
It is Jessica Carr, yes.
Because she's isn't the rumors that she's wrestling on dark shows under a mask?
Yeah, she's been given she's been one of the names they trademarked. And is in the evolve thing. Yeah,
Yes, Calyx.
yeah. So she popped up.
Hmm.
She popped up in the trails, which is interesting because I'm assuming she stayed on as a ref. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Still think it was that long after that she made her appearance. There's also Lacey Lane, who is also someone in WWE, who is a wrestler.
Is she still in the company?
I think she's still in the company. I don't think she's been released.
Oh, Lacey Lane. I thought that was
It's not Lacey Evans.
Yeah. Okay, no, I think she has another Lacey Lane.
She is. I think she is on the main roster technically, but she's kind of sort of
Who is it?
not gonna Caden Carter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, she's sort of been jobbering on the main roster. I think at this point with
I mean,
a tag team with Guitar Chance, right?
yes, Casey Catanzaro. Yeah, well, yeah, Katana Chance, but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they've always been like tag team unit.
Hmm.
Very much tag team unit in NXT, tag team unit on main roster, just kind of as jobbers, unfortunately. But yeah.
Yeah. That's the first time she popped up, and I believe she, looking at Kate, she was signed not long afterwards. Or at least she appeared in the Mae Young Classic or something. Yes, she did.
Mhm.
That's it. That's the quarterfinals. Next one, Carl Fredericks. You recognise that name? He's also currently in WWE and in NXT.
Don't know. I don't know if it rings a bell.
He's been pretty pushed. Do you think he's had a world title match recently? A world title match, a NXT title match.
Oh, NXT title match.
Yeah. Yeah, within the last, within this year.
I'm not sure. It's not coming to mind.
Okay. How about Eddie Thorpe?
Oh, I didn't think he was. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, it was a more recent PC guy. Okay.
So he came in as a. He wasn't have been picked up because he had a run in New Japan after this.
Okay.
Where he was also known as Carl Frederick. Presumably that where W picked him up from. But yeah, he popped up in this tryout. Two other people who were maybe more recent than you think. A certain Ricky Starks was in this tryout.
Saints.
Like Ricky Saints, yes, Ricky Starks, Ricky Saints, whatever. As a yeah.
Yeah, wasn't he used as a bodyguard or something?
Sounds about right.
And he got pushed. Oh yeah, he got pushed by Ryback in probably before this.
Okay, so he's like one of the.
Yeah, he got pushed around by Ryback as like an extra.
And so he might come off this tryout. Yeah, obviously,
Probably, or maybe
obviously didn't get picked up by WWE properly, and went to AEW, and now he's in WWE as the Ricky Saints. And another AEW person, Sammy Guevara, was also there.
Oh yeah. He was also. I know he also tried out.
Yeah, yeah, and Dave mentioned he he's said to be very good, which Dave's right. He is very good.
He's alright. Bit of a dick, but he's alright.
Yeah. I suppose he wouldn't know that back then, would he?
No.
He was apparently in Wrestle Circus, which I think was one of the sort of mid-tier indies around that point.
But no, he's very very good flippy guy. So makes sense that they've liked him.
Yeah. And final bit of news. This is basically a recap from Raw. But he says, sort of preview next week, he said it's going to be built around the Festival of Friendship. I wonder what happens there. Do you remember what happens there?
Was that was it Bailey or was it someone else?
This was Jericho and Kevin Owens. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Am I thinking Bailey?
Around this, they do the Bailey "This Is Your Life" thing. That was absolutely terrible around this.
That
time.
was at some point, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was her and Bliss.
Festival friendship.
Yeah, which is probably one of the highlights of a pretty grim year in WWE. Speaking of grim years, Elimination Chamber.
Oh yes, we're talking about
Yes,
that, aren't we?
yes, we are meant to do that. So let's get on with the show. Um, First off, and I think as we did watch it together, and the first thing we both noticed basically as we came in, there's 4 commentators. Oh no.
Are we gonna? Is this free reign to just chat shit on commentary panel?
Yeah, so the commentators of this one are David Otunga, JBL, Mauro Ranallo, and Tom Phillips, which is certainly a blunt rotation.
Nightmare, but yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think we can really class Tom Phillips as a commentator because he was just kind of on the panel.
Yeah.
He wouldn't say anything during the matches, and then between matches, he'd then be like the main kind of talky guy, which I don't think was needed, and it looks really weird. But
Yeah. Yeah, I think they were very much around this time. They're very much struggling commentary. This was the era of too many commentators spoiling the
yeah,
broth.
it's like a few years before that, you'd have like just casually on like big pay-per-views, you had like 5 different people on commentary, like your like Jerry Lawler, JBL,
Mhm.
JR, like you'd have everyone on it, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah, I also gonna say that I don't know the commentary wasn't great on this, just in general.
No, like I summed it up in my notes by being like, Morrow was the main commentator during the matches. He was all right, which yeah, he was
Yeah,
nothing
I
special. I'm not a
think
big fan of Morrow,
yeah,
but
Mauro is very much Mauro. There's not he's very much got his own sort of I don't know almost overhypey style.
yeah,
Um,
he's. I think the best way of talking about it is referencing Michael Cole in the Logan in his conversation with Logan Paul in during his podcast, and he was like, for a while WWE were trying to make another Michael Cole.
hmm,
They were trying to because Michael Cole had been shaped so well. They were trying to make another Michael Cole,
yeah,
and it just wasn't working with
hmm,
like Mauro, with like Joe Styles, especially Joe Styles. They were trying, it wasn't working. So that's why Joe Tessitore is so good because he's so different.
yeah,
So he's not another Michael Cole because you can't have another one.
yeah. That's
So
true.
that was very much my vibe with Mauro.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I think I do remember around this period. He was I don't know. He was like different enough from the usual in
hmm,
terms of like he was like a
yeah.
bit more I don't know enthusiastic and it seemed a little bit more genuine. Like I think there was like a genuine bit of like I don't know spark. Like imagine how like Michael Cole sort of sounded when he was
Got heel.
not being shouted down by Vince like nowadays basically.
Oh yeah, like when Michael Cole's not heel, he's really
Yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But like when he's not heel and when he doesn't have someone shouting down his ear telling him to push something. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think like we're seeing nowadays. I'm seeing like even around this period when he was like Beast in the East when they did maybe in Japan. He was really good in that show, and basically that was only because there was no Vince. Yeah. And yeah, the other two, JBL is very JBL. He's
Yeah.
yeah, he's. I think again he's one of those people who sort of I guess sort of drool on people around this point. I would say.
Yeah. Uh, I written down that the only time JBL would pipe up and say anything was either to insult David Otunga
Hmm.
or to give some kind of sassy comment,
Yeah,
mainly against Daniel Bryan.
yeah.
It was mainly anti Daniel Bryan comments, but that's generally the only times he would say something.
Hmm. Obviously, we got yeah JBL. So obviously, you can't really get him to play the face, can you? Because he's JBL. Um, and David Otunga, who, yeah, yeah, he's always been there and been eh, sort of a mid-ish commentator. He was I don't know. I can't remember anything massively offensive he said on this. In terms of like that's just bad commentary.
think that's the problem.
Yeah.
Very inoffensive. It's
Yeah.
very generic. I think halfway through, I'm like, I didn't think David Otunga would sound like this. Like his voice just is so different to how he looks. It's just,
Yeah.
it's just very kind of Byron Saxton, but worse. Kind of,
Yeah.
it kind of seems like a wimp on commentary, which is just so different to him.
Yeah, I suppose I presume the idea was to have a commentator feud between JBL and David Otunga, as you mentioned, which commentator feuds always go well on wrestling shows, don't they? They always end up fun. Speaking of commentators, we also had the Spanish lot at ringside,
The Spanish lot.
and we also had the Germans also at ringside.
Yes.
Which was surprising. And I believe later on they cut to more commentators. The Mandarin, Japanese, Funaki, slightly knows them more than answer. The Russians, which
Yeah.
gone now, and Portuguese commentators. So lots of people there just sort of doing commentary, which you don't know. Again, you don't always see nowadays. They maybe cut to the Spanish announce team.
Yeah, they don't show it, but they used to they used to often like cut to the two tables ringside, and then like they had like a bunch of tables off in the background.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised to see the Germans at ring. Like I didn't really think they would be relevant enough in terms of like reach to actually be important enough to be at ringside.
Yeah, it's normally Spanish and then French, or
Yeah,
is it
French.
German?
Yeah,
I think it's French now.
yeah. I don't think we saw many French commentators actually. Again,
No,
usual.
but
Yeah,
they normally do have French commentators
yeah,
there.
yeah.
But obviously nowadays, if we're gonna have multiple tables, it's either Spanish or Arabic,
Yeah,
because they normally do multiple tables at Saudi shows.
yeah. Of course. Anyway, out to the commentators. We're pretty much straight into our first match, which is Becky Lynch versus Mickey James. Basically, the storyline is Mickey James costed Becky Lynch in a steel cage title match against Alexa Bliss on SmackDown a couple of weeks ago. Because Mickey James and Alexa Bliss are big besties.
Yes. Are you talking about La Luchadora?
Yes, that would have been La Luchador, actually, of course. The very good disguise that she put on, yes.
Yes.
And which put down one of the commentators saying was a vintage Scooby Doo moment. I'm guessing
Yes,
that was JBL.
that was JBL, and I also heard that.
Commentators also mentioned that this is James's first match back in WWE in 7 years. Obviously, he's been to TNA during that point, I'm guessing.
Probably.
Yeah, in the Knockouts division. But yeah, this is a first match back in quite a while. It's also against a sort of explosion in popularity Becky Lynch as well.
Yeah, steampunk
yeah.
Becky.
Yeah, it's a steampunk Becky. Rather than man.
I think honestly, she just did a bunch of indies around this time. Like, honestly, she didn't really like she wrestled a little bit for TNA, but not like it was mainly. I think after 2013, she didn't really do much outside of TNA, and then she went to WWE for in and off for like 5 years, and then she was Knockouts champion, wasn't she?
Yes. Yeah. Don't think she was in this run wouldn't last too long, did it? Like a couple
No,
years or so?
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, so into the match, you have some usual sort of jockeying, sort of trying to control the match to start with. Falling elbow tie up, and they do a roll out of the ring, and then have a fight on the outside, jump back into the ring at 4. So the usual sort of evenly match start. Mickey does a nice cartwheel to get out of an arm lock, which I think is one of the things she's done since she started, and she reverses it into one of her own, which Becky then reverses back. And Mickey was about to break it up, so sort of like a wrestly start.
Yes.
I've already mentioned the commentators are already talking over each other. Right? Been like 5 minutes of the pay-per-view, and it's already talking over each other. Becky runs Mickey into the ring ring post and apron and does some hot dogging outside. And she rolls back in, and of course, because you run back into the ring, Mickey's immediately on top and hits a DDT with the ropes for 2 counts. Mickey then smashes Becky and starts working on the arm. Gets another cover for a 2 and continues to work on the left arm and the ropes. Presumably setting up for some form of submission, I'm guessing. Although I think it was Becky's submission. Becky's submission this time was the disarmer. So probably try and soften her up for stop her from doing that. Decent working over. Becky sort of tries to paralyze it, but Mickey does a hurricane out of the corner and then does a big stream. Because of course she does. I've put the crowd a bit dead here. And I thought this was a bit of a slower match to start off with. Like it wasn't bad.
Yeah, it was very, very kind of just standard wrestling, nothing special, kind of. Yeah.
Of course, commentators. It's 2017, so it's the women's revolution time.
Yeah.
That was mentioned a couple of times. And
it's around the time that WWE invented women.
Yes, of course, and invented women's wrestling. That never happened before.
No.
But they also mentioned that Mickey James competed all over the world, which I just put AKA TNA, but I guess just general indies. She was a bit more grinding down on the leg, but Becky managed to elbow her way out of it. Forearm battle, big strikes, gets the crowd back into it. Then Becky comes back with a pacifier, a leg lariat, and a suplex for a 2 count. James dodges a Becky corner attack and does a flapjack before going to the top rope with a senton and a kiss to the crowd for a 2. Mickey does some more left arm work, but then Becky fights her way back out of it again and gets to the top rope for a big drop kick. She does recover, but there's a little bit of adjusting needed because the ropes she's a bit too close to the ropes, and she only gets a 2. Some more adjusting, then Mickey gets a nick kick, but some more rope stuff leads to another 2. Mickey then gets another at the referee and taunts Becky, but we have to swap and Becky gets a better of a striking match, and then does a suplex reversal, and tries for disarmer, which is initially reversed, but then reversed back into the disarmer, and then reversed into a roll up for the 3.
Woo.
Yes, so
surprise roll up.
Yes, this is very much a theme you will see throughout 2017.
This is very much like late 2010s was very much the surprise roll up kind of era. Like everyone loses a match with a surprise roll up.
Yep. So ratings wise, I put it down as a 5.5. So it was okay. The crowd was sort of not that interested for most of it, but they did get back into it towards the end. Any further thoughts on your end?
I gave it a 5. I also see on Cage Match that it was a 6.28, so we probably underrated it a little bit, but also I don't want to overrate any more than a 5. And Big Dave gave it a 3.25 star.
That's like sort of.
So that's about 6 over, just 6 over.
It's about 6 and a
6.25,
something like that, which is So we sort of, I guess, underrated a bit compared to the others, but at the same time, it
doesn't deserve any more than a 5.
It was just okay.
It's a generic match, which was a bit meh, and then and it was very much a set up a story for later kind of match rather than a interesting pay-per-view match, but which is a theme. It's very much a theme. That's what happens when you get like SmackDown only pay-per-views.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the especially one of these where a lot of the main people are very much in one match.
Yes,
which is a Chamber, of course. After the match, we cut to Carmella and Mr. No Chin Man James Ellsworth, where they do something, basically saying the wrong one, and Ellsworth kind of copies her.
Yes.
This is again another theme that happens throughout the night as we cut back to them many times.
I wrote down, wow, who cares?
Yes. I'm presuming this is again some future storyline setting up with the women's title or something.
Carmella versus the world.
And we also cut back stage to see Coleman doing some shadow punches whilst the commentators hype chamber match. So our next match, which is one I saw and got very confused by, it's a 2-on-1 handicap match, everyone's favourite. Apollo Crews and Kalisto versus Dolph Ziggler, which is a combination of people for sure.
It's a match. It's certainly a match.
Yeah. They didn't really give much explanation for this, other than this is somehow Daniel Bryan's fault.
Yes, it's Dolph being all cheeky Dolph.
So this is a bit of an interesting scenario because this is a 2-1 handicap match where the face team has the advantage, which is obviously you can't really do a story with that. So
yeah, I wonder what they did to make the faces not have the advantage.
Yes, so the inevitable happens, and Big Ziggles attacks Kalisto during his entrance.
Just didn't have to do that. Come on, it's so cruel.
Yes, and which means with Crews already in the ring, we start with Crews and Big Ziggles as Kalisto is presumably helped to the back.
It's just a singles match, like
it just turns into a singles match for a little bit. I don't really understand why this was even a thing, but this was again another okay match.
I think you're being too nice.
Yeah, like there was nothing wrong with the wrestling there, I think, which is the main problem. So I'm not going to go over this too much, but there's a few decent moves. Crews starts in the House of Fire, gets a sneakplex on, and Ziggler rolls to the outside, and then next Crews on the ropes, doing the big Healy things and giving him a big rub in the corner. Commentators are arguing again. Okay. We get the first of, I think, 2 chin locks in this match by Ziggler, which Apollo fights out of. Started to begin as a roll up for a 2. Roll up. Ziggler then floors Crews with an elbow, and then we're back to chin lock. Crowd is very dead, shockingly, for Apollo Crews versus Dolph Ziggler in 2017.
Yeah.
Crews versus temporarily, and gets a 2 count, but then we're back into the chin lock, lads. Chinlock City. Chinlock City.
It's definitely the subtitle for this.
Yes.
Review.
Chinlocks and roll-ups.
Yeah.
Crews fights back out again, and then Crews fights out again, fights out of a neckbreaker by Dolph, but to just kicking him in the gut, and then he gets another swinging neckbreaker anyway, just to put him back down. Listo's now alive and moves towards the ring, arguing with the ref for some reason, which is a distraction time for a nice enziguri by Crews. The crowd is shouting 10 with every number the ref counts, which I presume is a Ty Dillinger thing at this point. Then Kalisto gets tagged in and actually does some moves. Ziggler takes a bit of control back by throwing him back into the ropes for a sneaky. But then Crews gets a sneaky tag, comes in, does this spinny power one thing. To be fair, does look quite nice.
Yeah.
And gets the win.
Yeah, the sit out power bomb's really good.
Yeah.
That was the highlight of the match, was the end, which kind of
and a bit of a post match angle where Ziggler attacks Kalisto again and beats up Apollo again. Presumably just being a bad loser. Ziggler Pillmanizes Apollo's ankle, both ankles actually, and I put the chairs very much not playing ball, so presumably Ziggler was very much struggling with that.
He trapped his ankle in a chair and stamped on it twice.
Yes. Good Pillmanizing, and then Kalisto wakes up very conveniently just after the attack and consoles Apollo.
What happened? What happened?
it's always very convenient how they just wake up very immediately after the attack happens.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Makes you think. No.
Yeah, makes you think. I'm going to be honest. I don't think anything happened after this, or at least nothing of interest.
No.
Yeah. So, what's your rating for this match, Eloise?
So I've got, I rated this 3. 3 out of 10.
I have also rated the 3 out of 10, and basically nothing matched. That was also a handicap match. That was not a handicap match, most of it.
Yeah.
But they were kind of forced into that by having the faces have the advantage.
Yeah.
It's just a weird way of doing this.
It's just it's a SmackDown. It's a SmackDown match, not a pay-per-view match.
Yeah. Yeah, as I say, just put why is this not on the SmackDown? Which it should be. So, what did Big Dave give it?
1.25.
Yeah, which
it was a 3 on cage match as well. But yeah, 1.25.
Yeah, I think as I said, there was nothing particularly bad with the wrestling in terms of mistakes or whatever. It was just a bit there.
Bit stupid.
Yeah, the match was pointless, and the wrestling was a bit meh.
It was alright. It was just very, very late 2010s WWE.
And speaking of late 2010s WWE, it's a tag team title match where every single tag team just comes out. Every single tag team is now in one match. So we start with Rhino and Slater, and Slater Gator. No, that's not them, is it? Slater Gator is Titus O'Neil, isn't it? Are they just Rhino and Slater?
They just Steve Slater and Rhino.
He's Slater and Rhino, okay. And Breezango out first.
Yep.
And this is the point where we cut the commentators during Breezango's entrances, presumably. The crowd are immediately more alive than they have been for the last couple of matches because Heath Slater's there and the chat he's got kids.
Yes.
Slater and Fandango do some back and forth with Slater to take control of Big Hip Toss. And then gets tagged in and batters Breeze. Slater then gets tagged back in. And Breezango do some double teaming after a trip on the outside by Fandango. Stomps in the corner and a double suplex, the usual stuff. Slater fights out, tries a sunflip flip, but again it's ticketed by Dango. I think I assume this was an actual fight fashion police ticket rather than just something I mistyped.
Oh, is this a spot where who was on the floor? Someone was on the floor.
Yeah, so I think it was it must have been Breeze was Apollo was getting sunset flipped by Breeze, and Fandango came up to him and gave him a ticket.
Yeah, gave him a ticket, and then there was a spot in the match where Fandango was standing on top of probably Heath and was just gyrating his hips and making the tickets like rain.
Yeah, that's
which was a spot.
Yeah, I think this is a spot. But anyway, it doesn't matter at all because Heath Slater just completes the sunset flip, but the count gets broken up by Tyler Breeze. Obviously, he's right there. Some more double team chicanery leads to Fandango pinning Heath Slater, but Slater was not a legal man. He tagged to Rhino, go, recount, and Rhino and Slater progress. So Breezango out first.
Yeah, that was 4.5 minutes.
Yeah. Okay, special. Yeah, looking at cage. Then we have everyone's favourite tag team, the Vaudevillains, who I've completely forgot existed.
Yeah, that's Simon Gotch, who famously famously does not have Enzo on his Christmas card list.
Yep. Along with Aiden English, who is he a commentator for TNA now?
I think
he's
a commentator for something. I can find it out.
I think it's TNA. Could be wrong though. Anyway, the Vaudevillains are out next. They fight with Rhino on the outside. And Slater
he's
does a
he's TNA commentator. Sorry, yeah.
the fact Rhino outside and Slater does a big old dive to wipe everyone out. Water wins the cover and isolates Slater in the corner with kicks. Gotch puts Slater in a position for a senton by English, but Rhino just goes him, and English misses the senton, which leads to a DDT by Slater for the free. So they weren't in for that long. I think we've got it down as like
it was
2 minutes basically.
Yeah, so it would have been about just over 2 minutes in.
Next up is the Usos, who, by God, they look different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is very much the time where because they didn't really do anything to make them feel important singularly. They were just kind of the Usos, and it was hard to differentiate from each other just because they both didn't really stand out. Whereas compare it to now, and both of them are have done incredible from themselves. It's crazy looking back and seeing the start of the Usos kind of domination, like when they were good, but they were still just a unit. Whereas I think really COVID really helped the Usos kind of be unique. And obviously Jay's gone and won the Rumble.
Yeah,
probably will become heavyweight champion, and it's crazy looking at the Usos now.
It is, they at this point just like some the generic face.
Yeah, this was.
Although they're not face when they heel.
Was this Usos Penitentiary?
I think it was even before that, wasn't it? They look like sort of the Samoan generic Samoan guy Usos.
Yeah, I think Usos Penitentiary was the year after 2018.
Yes, yeah, that's where I think that's where they really started to get good.
Started to get good, yeah.
Yeah. Whereas now they're kind of just there. So this is also a bit of a short segment. Usos isolate Slater for a bit, and it's tagged in a Rhino who does some stuff. Then Usos regain back some control with Jay hitting a big forearm for 2. Rhino covers with a clothesline and tags Slater back in, who is a big height of fire with hot tag. Punches, misses a big kick and gets hit with a Samoan drop, which makes sense. They are Samoan after all.
Yeah.
But then Rhino breaks up to 2. Slater is still in though, and an Uso sneaky tag leads to a roll up. One's favourite. For 3. And Slater and Rhino are out.
They last about 3 minutes after the Usos came out.
Yeah. So they were given a couple of pins, but they kind of put in their place as sort of like a mid-card tag team.
But they weren't pinned clean, so they still had that little kind of we weren't pinned clean, so we're not total bums.
Yes. And next out is American Angle, sorry, American Alpha, who is Kurt Angle's son and Kurt Angle's real son.
Indeed.
Obviously, Chad Gable and Jason Jordan. Gable comes in with a big crossbody for a 2 count. Chad has long hair now, which is a point which he does he cut off when he becomes Shorty G? Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's short hair with the greatest gimmick of all time, which is Shorty G.
Yes, of course. Everyone's favourite. Jay hits a big punch to take Gable down, and they get him in the corner for a double team leg drop thingy for a 2. Jimmy throws Gable into the corner to take him down with Chad on the ropes. Jay does a little sneaky punch. The rest attracted to take more advantage. Got some more double teaming to isolate Gable in the corner. The leg drop, super kick, sort of double team, etc. And we get everyone's favourite chin lock time. Let's go. Fortunately, this doesn't last very long. Gable fights out quite quickly, but then he's overpowered by Jay again and sent out to the outside. Gable slides back in, tries to attack to Jordan, but flails and is being dragged back with Jim into the opposite corner. But in doing so, he takes out Jay in the corner, and Gable then takes out Jimmy out for a double down, and they do the usual sort of crawling for a tag thing to Jordan.
Yeah.
Which he gets in, and he Azafai hits a few moves, and they go for the double team move. I can't remember what they were going for, but then Jay's tries for another roll up, another one. But then Gable gets another, but then Gable then reverses and gets one of his own for a free count.
Yep.
So another roll up finish. Which I
Yeah,
think is the fourth so far.
I'm right. I think it's 4. It's either 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I think it's the time we started counting, and we weren't sure if it was 3 or 4.
Yeah.
But yeah, they lasted just under, so like 5.5.
Yeah. Like, I think these are probably the 2 best teams in this sort of section, I would say, in terms of wrestling. Like, you could probably put them out and have like a 20-minute match, and they'll be able to cope.
I will say the team coming up probably should have been treated a little bit better, and probably should have been treated as, the top echelon of tag teams that they had, but weren't.
Yes. So the Usos then do a post-match beatdown, which is again just the same as what happened in the Ziggler match, which lasts for a surprisingly long time before we get the Ascension coming out, with their weird masks.
Yeah, but did they wear masks on the walkout and then they took them off?
Yes. Yeah. And then they have their face paint on the mask, which is interesting. And they come out and then just sort of wander around staring at the 2 dead men in the ring.
It's like they don't take the advantage and beat them when they're down. They're just like, what? What was this? Whoa!
Yeah.
Wow! And then just waste time.
Yeah, they eventually hit their finishing move, which is called the Fall of Man. Great name.
Yeah, it's good.
But Gable breaks up the pin from the outside. Getting it struck out again. And we get some Jason Jordan battering. Essentially, it's kind of a reverse of the previous section where Jordan's the big and Jordan's the guy in peril this time around. Essentially, do the double team big squash and knee, but Jordan then gets up 2. More battering, but Jordan managed to dodge a big splash, hits Suplex and Victor, and then gets the hot tag to Gable, where they both get the Grand Amplitude, which is their finishing move, which looked quite nice to be fair, for the 3 and to retain their tag titles.
Yep.
So yeah, I've put this down as the best match of the night so far, 6.5.
Yeah.
Which again, it was overall decent. Nothing overly special though. Say.
Yeah, like if you exclude the fact that it was a 21-minute match, it was just a bunch of 3, 4, 5, 6-minute matches. Just kind of sprinkled in, but so it's a very good way of cramming in as much tag team stuff as possible and wrestlers as possible to have them in a pay-per-view. But it wasn't like the most groundbreaking stuff, but it was enjoyable. I gave it a 6. Like it was good. It was a good match, but
it's like they need to do something with the tag teams. They don't have anything built up. Just chuck everyone in the match, basically.
Very much so.
Which with the wrestlers they've got there, it kind of works. Both the face teams, which are American Alpha and Heath Slater and Minor, were pretty popular with the crowd. I would say Slano was a bit more popular.
Wasn't this the this was the story where I think after, so this is after, maybe it was on Raw. Heath Slater basically wasn't drafted, wasn't given a contract, and he had to like win his way into a contract, and no one wanted to tag with him apart from Rhino.
Yeah,
that's how they formed.
Yeah, this was the exact storyline. I believe after this they get the tag titles. I think it's a couple months after this.
Makes sense. They looked quite like very over, very good. Obviously, it's Rhino. What do you expect? But that makes a lot of sense.
So it's very much I don't know, sort of like nice, decent enough match, but nothing too special. It's something probably something you wouldn't have on a SmackDown just because of the length. But
yeah,
sort of like a slightly above SmackDown match. We then get a Mania promo which has the great song "Red Light, Green Light." I'm ready to
Ah,
go,
yes,
go, oh.
yes. Oh.
A young Luke Littler takes notes.
Yes, indeed. That was very much the origin story of the nuke.
Yes. We also cut backstage, and we got Miz getting kissed by Maurice, presumably, and looks
So
concerned. Please change.
yes, I read that, like literally on my notes. I just got the Miz and Maurice appear. He looks scared. That's all I wrote. Like,
Yeah.
so it's obviously it was obviously before the chamber match, so he was scared because of the chamber match, not because his wife scared him.
Yes. So speaking of someone we did mention in the newsletter was Nikki Bella versus Natalia. Obviously Nikki has as we heard, had some neck problems, so I guess this kind of explains why this match was a bit there. So the rough storyline behind this was Natalia attacked Nikki backstage, basically saying, "Oh, you can't wrestle," and one of the lines I picked out was, "When your beauty goes, John is going to leave you."
Yes, because
Which at that time, I don't think John was probably that happy with the relationship.
yeah,
So
it was a story completely based on Total Divas. Like
yes,
it was a Total Divas story made up. You know, they were doing the whole "oh, John's gonna leave you" kind of storyline, and whoa, and happened. But I don't think it's because of this.
yes. The pre-match package was surprisingly long, which I think was longer than anything else, any other package on the show.
You got to plug Total Divas, you know.
Yes, and we also had a plug Talking Smack, which made an appearance.
Oh
Rest in
yeah,
peace.
so that was Daniel Bryan talking.
Yes, yes indeed. So something I did notice during the entries is Nikki's surprisingly popular. I suppose the Bella's sort of popularity never went away, did it?
Yeah.
Like I noticed that she was one of the better reacted people on the show so far. When she was wearing a John Cena coloured bra.
Mm-hmm.
So this match was surprisingly long. I think it was longer than the other women's match on the show. Women's matches on the show.
By a couple minutes, yeah.
Yeah, like and considering that I don't know, like Nikki Bella, who she can wrestle, but she was like never the sort of the sort of the wrestling person. She was when she was sort of in a prime. She was the matches in Dalton was always like 5 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
Just because of the way women's division was back then. So I suppose this was kind of she was pushing herself, putting in Natalia because Natalia can do these sorts of matches. So we start off with Natalia on top for a bit, and she taunts Nikki with a "Can't see me," which gives her enough to just Nikki to smack her in the face and taking Natalia down. Nikki tries a cross arm breaker pretty much immediately, but Natalia fights out and gets some punches for a slam, followed by another "You can't see me" taunt. The taunt again backfires as Nikki fires up and gets her into the knee bar. Presumably trying to out submission the submission person. Natalia gets to the rope and falls to the outside, but again but when she tries to climb back up, she gets taken back down again by a clothesline off the apron. Natalia then calls for timeout on the outside, but swerve when Nikki goes out, she gets whacked into the ring post. We get some more "You can't see me" taunts, which she does a lot, much. Seemingly the only taunt she knows. Even when she's on top for this sort of middle section, as she does a snapmare into another chin lock. Yep, another one. Slow the match down. Nikki fights out and does an arm drag, but then gets taken back down by a clothesline. Another "You can't see me" taunt. Before big step, which I think was just I assume that was just Natalia sort of standing on her. We get another roll up, but that only gets a 2 by Nikki before Natalia takes back control with more working over the hair, legs, etc., and puts her in a big cross-legged submission thingy. and get another "You Can't See Me" chant, which I think will be like the 10th of the match. Which, but this time it's with an added bitch, and leads to a big slap, and then a quick reversal into the Nikki's armbar, which leads to Nikki now being on top. She gets shoulder tackle, kick, side press into a 2 count. Natalia recovers, gets a Michinoku driver for a 2, and then tries for a sharpshooter, which Nikki fights out of. Hits a very quick forearm for another 2 count. Natalia fights out of the rack attack, which is the sort of the torture rack slam thing that Nikki does. But then gets thrown into a spine buster sort of thing for a 2. Nikki does an enziguri on the corner for a 2 for Natalia. And I think at this point we weren't too interested in the match, so Chuck insulted him, so we sent him down the stairs multiple times.
Oh yeah,
in the Discord, of course, not in real life.
No, yeah, I'm trying to remember that.
Yeah, I mean, it's Chuck and Omos. He's always going to insult Omos, isn't he?
That's instantly more interesting than the match.
Yeah. They get we get a big superplex spot and then a big double down. The crowd still shouts 10 whenever the referee tries to count. So presumably again, Ty Dillinger must have been around.
Ty Dillinger been over, yeah.
Yeah. It's how they get put up and unlocks Nick in the sharpshooter. Nikki tries to reach ropes, but then gets dragged back, but she then counts it into a fearless lock, which I think was just seen as STF.
Yes, I similar to the STFU, yeah.
Which Natalia reaches the rope for, and then they roll outside for a big fight. Ref counts them out. Crowd, the big boo for. It was the most they were really into this match, to be honest. And of course, with the 3rd match in a row, we get a post-match beatdown with Natalia battering Nikki after the bell, but Nikki does come back and does a spear on the ramp before Natalia runs off.
Yeah.
This was sort of meh. Again, I put this as a 5, mainly because I thought this was better than I was expected. But yeah, this was definitely too long, I would say.
It definitely was worse than I expected because we didn't get a winner. It was a double counter.
Yeah.
I mean, that's instantly like minus points. I give it a 4, but honestly, probably could have given it a lower. It's so nothing, and the fact that there's 3 women's matches on the card, and easily that was the worst, and it went on the longest. It
was a I presume it's I don't know. I presume again they're trying to build up the Mania match and having Nikki Bella seem like a legitimate threat at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It was fine.
Very meh.
Yeah. So what did you give it for? So Big Dave, what did he give it?
That was a 2 3/4. So like a 4.4. That'd be like a 5.5.
I think so.
Yeah, about that. Yeah. So basically, Cage Match has it at 4.79. So not too far off.
We then cut back to Ellsworth and Carmelo again. Yay.
Yeah.
And we also see Broughton, which is Bray and Randy, in a spooky room backstage, saying it's you, Bray, and then doing the run.
Yes.
So then we actually get into some interesting stuff now.
Good stuff.
Yeah,
finally.
Good stuff is coming. This is Randy Orton versus Luke Harper. This is a sort of a part of the overarching Wyatt family storyline where Orton Orton sort of joined the Wyatt family, and Harper sort of wasn't particularly sure about him.
Mm-hmm.
Harper cost Broughton a match against AA for the tag titles by accident, presumably. And Wyatt then kicks Harper out, I think, after dissension in the ranks. He did the
Yep.
sort of Sister Abigail thing, and sets Orton and Harper and sets up this match between Harper.
Yeah,
So,
they were very much bickering, and he's like, "Okay, you have to sort it out."
yes,
But his very much then sided with Randy.
yes. So it's basically Harper's now on his own, doing his own thing. Yes, this is a quite an interesting one actually, because this is like very much old head versus new face sort of thing. Harper's been around in WWE for that long.
But then I wouldn't say Harper's that much of a new face in the grand scheme of things either. It's quite an interesting kind of
Yeah.
someone who maybe wasn't the most experienced in WWE, but
True.
like is
Yeah.
obviously a very experienced wrestler versus someone who's very, very experienced in WWE. Just it's a weird mix that you wouldn't expect, but obviously
Yeah, I think this is Harper's first big singles match, I think.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think this was his big moment, I'd say.
So nothing further to note for the inches other than the sign we noticed that said GTFC on it. Which we thought, what does that stand for? Could it be Grimsby Town? I'm not sure why they'd be there at an Elimination Chamber, but
It's an interesting choice.
yeah. So it starts off with a lock-up between the two, which leads to Harper on top, obviously, because he's the big, powerful, muscly man. With a shoulder tackle thingy getting a 1 count. Orton then goes to the outside, but Harper's still on top. I put hitting a Shote FM palm strike, which
Yes,
was that a you thing, Eloise?
I'm pretty sure you mentioned. I think you mentioned Eddie because it was a Shote, so you're like, oh, it's an Eddie.
Oh yes, Shote palm strike. Yes. Big kick takes down Orton. Harper goes to the top, but then Randall twits him off and takes a big bump to the outside. Harper makes his way back in at 7 count, but is then thrown into the ropes and side. Harper takes another big bump with a back suplex onto the announce table, which then didn't break. I'm assuming that was meant to break. Harper makes his way back in, but then Orton just gets a 2 count. A Randall Keith chinlock, a classic. Yes, another chinlock.
Yep, another one.
Which Harper fights out of, but then Harper gets front suplexed onto the top rope. Orton does some posing or stomping at Harper, tossing into another chinlock. Yep, another one. Harper again fights out and then swings him over the rope and hits a big old boot in Orton for 2. Orton chucks Harper to the outside before setting up for a draping DDT. Harper wiggles out, next Orton onto the bottom rope. He goes for a dive with Orton outside, but Orton punches to block. However, Harper gets it the second attempt, sending them both into the announce table, which I think then breaks. Harper returns the favour from early and gives Orton about suplex on the announce table. This is when he breaks. Finally. Orton recovers quickly, hits a DDT on the outside, with them both back in the ring at an 8 count. Orton gets a top rope suplex, then takes them both out. Kind of very much into this. This is awesome, to be fair. It's very much the best thing we've seen. Best thing we've seen so far.
It was really good.
Harper days, but he blocks the RKO and gets a headlock slam for 2. Orton stands over Harper on the apron and sort of waiting for the draping DDT. Gets it. We then get the usual sort of build up to an RKO sequence, but then Harper gets 2 massive kicks and Orton down to the mat, but only gets a 2 count. Some more kicks in the corner, and Harper powerbomb for another 2 count. Both are now on their knees. Again, they do the usual boo yay punching spot with everyone knackered. They both get up, and Harper goes for the skill time, but they get RKO out of nowhere for the 3 count. Yay! Yeah, really good. Like, I'll put a 7.5. Yeah, just great stuff, and makes a change from the stuff we've seen before. This felt like an actual pay-per-view quality match, really.
Yeah, it was an actual good match.
Yeah.
Something that actually felt worth watching. Luke Harper looked incredible.
Yeah. Both of them took some big bumps, I would say.
Yeah.
Like the superplex and the suplex on the outside, on the announce table, various outside dives, etc. So it's something you probably wouldn't expect Harper to do. Sort of
Yeah.
with his size. Anyway, it's not something he did do quite a lot. But yeah, this is like he very much felt on an even keel with Orton.
Yeah, because Orton around this time, because obviously the roster was a little bit depleted. They maybe lacked some of the stars they once had. I think they're slowly getting stars back, but the one constant with WWE around this time was Randy could give an amazing match, and Randy's so consistent, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So that's easily why that match was so good, because Randy's really good, and Luke Harper, Brody Lee, rest in peace, was incredible. I gave that an 8. Easily best match of the night. And yeah, I don't think there's much more to say about it. It's just because I'm a huge fan of the story. Not a huge fan of maybe how it looked at Mania, but I'm just a big Bray Wyatt fan, so it's always nice seeing Bray Wyatt stuff, which gets that later. But no, there's some. It was a really good match to have on.
Yeah, it's the main stuff we'll definitely talk about later after the final match, because the storyline definitely takes a different direction after this. So what did Dave give this match?
Okay, so he gave it a 3 3/4, which feels a little harsh, but that's like a 7.5.
Yeah, that's just my rating. But
yeah, the highest so far. So
yeah, like I think this is like again this is the first time it sort of felt like a paper.
Yeah.
And so in between this and that match, we cut back to a Nikki Bella interview, but she didn't really get to say much before Natalia just attacks her backstage. So that feud is continuing, presumably on SmackDown after this. Moose is causing crossfire with some powder. I don't know if that ends up anything, but I presume that's just a thing for later as well. And then we jump into the semi-main event, which is the SmackDown Women's Title match between Naomi and Alexa Bliss. I didn't have any storyline notes for this.
I don't think there was a vignette or anything. They just jumped into it.
Yeah.
Just jumped into the entrances, and it's very, very obviously heel Alexa.
Yes, and of course heel Alexa the champion after we talked about the cage match versus Lynch, where Mickey James defeated as the La Luchadora man.
Yes.
Man, yes. So we start off with Bliss doing a hair flip to the face, which just does nothing, and leads to Naomi getting a roll up for a 2. Naomi's on top for a little bit, but Alexa brings her down off the top rope by her hair and then hits a few punches. Big foot in the corner, sort of the grindy thing, and the knees on the ropes, grinding her down into a 2 count. We get a hair tie up in the corner after a big throw, which leads to another 2 count for Alexa. And we get another chin lock. Let's go. Everyone's favourite.
I was waiting for that because I had it written down, so I was waiting for you to cover the chin lock. But I knew it was coming.
Up the chin locks. I believe this is probably our last chin lock because I don't think any chin locks happen in the chamber match.
I don't think so, because they don't need to stall for time, do they? No. There's lots going on.
Yeah. Naomi fights out with an arm drag. Bliss gets on the top rope and does a somersault into an armbar by Naomi for a 2. Naomi gets another big kick for another 2. Gets some kicks and a somersault clothesline, leads to a blockbuster on the top rope for a 2 for Naomi again. Bliss runs into Naomi's bum for a 2.
Yeah.
Which is the rear view, or by accident, I guess. Bliss now does the Healy thing of begging off, but then gets a big cheap shot with get back into control. Some standing splashes for a 2. Bliss goes up for the Sparkle Splash, but Naomi gets a big old kick to take her down. Bliss gets another 2 from a move that I didn't note down, but is annoyed at the ref for it, and then has a tantrum. And because of the tantrum, Naomi gets a big Eats Defeat, which is I always think is a great name for a move. Goes for her split-legged moonsault, which Bliss kind of half moves out of the way of, and one of the legs hits her ass. Bliss gets up anyway, does a twisted blitz, but Naomi gets the knees up. It's another split-legged moonsault, which again is also a bit sloppy for the 3 count, and winning the title. I would say again, this was okay. Nothing special. Again, probably nothing they couldn't have had on the SmackDown either. But I guess with the title change, they wanted it on some form of pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And post match, we get Naomi. We get Naomi interviewed by Renee Paquette, who obviously now in AEW. And she does the usual babyface promo, so she's going to her hometown and cries. Yeah, as I said, nothing too special. But yeah, I think this is probably the sloppiest of the matches, just in terms of like there was a couple of bits where nothing didn't quite connect. But the babyface won. The crowd were pretty happy after the match, to be fair.
Yeah, they were. I mean, I don't think the crowd really cared about the match apart from the title change, but it was very much the main issue is it was very much the shortest match of any women's match, and it was the title match. So like the one that was meant to mean the most was the shortest. So
Yeah.
it's a bit crap, but
yeah. So I gave it a 4 from my end. What did you give it, and what did Big Dave give it?
I gave it a 4, and Big Dave gave it a 4 3/4. So that's like a 5.5.
4 3/4.
Oh wait, 2 3/4. There we go.
Don't say 4 3/4. Jesus, that's one of the best matches WWE ever did between like.
Yeah, 2 3/4.
Which is relatively fair, I guess. It's probably not much difference from the Italian Nikki Bella match, really.
Yeah,
Just a bit shorter.
Just this one was a title match.
Yeah. We get our final cut back to Carm Ellsworth. Carmella gets a bit pissy at Dasher, and Ellsworth takes the mic off her and puts it in the bin. Another great segment.
Yes, I actively wrote "fuck off, Carmella."
Yeah, it was a bit of a. I don't know. They could have. I can understand why they did it, because I'm guessing that again they're positioning Carmella as like the next
Yeah,
big woman in the division, but yeah, it was. They were fine, but they did get a bit sort of over inserted. Anyway, so our main event after a sort of a middle of the card, one good match and lots of sort of ones. Yeah, we come to the chamber match, which is John Cena versus Bray Wyatt versus AJ Styles versus Baron Corbin versus Dean Ambrose, which is for the WWE title. Cena as a champion. So yes, this is pretty much where they poured all the big star into. Basically, we start off with a chamber hype package featuring the various wrestler inserts. They're all they're all talking the chances as per usual. And then we get everyone's coming out. Wyatt's entrance, I think we pointed out, looked quite cool with the chamber and everyone doing the fireflies. Cena comes out, I think, last or second to last.
Yeah, so it looks like Ambrose comes out first. And then it's so I've written down Ambrose comes out first with the Intercontinental title around his waist, and then next up is Hair Corbin. Is what I wrote
Oh
down.
yes, yeah, this is pre-balding.
And then the Miz came out, and then oh, I wrote the Goat is next. Okay, yeah, the Bray comes out, and then it starts off obviously AJ and
And we've Cena coming out to John Cena's sort of chance as per usual.
Wabadoo.
Yeah, this is sort of the time frame where it sort of started to turn back before people were like, "Oh, Cena's good." But I'm guessing at this point they just wanted Cena not to have the title.
Yeah.
So we get Cena and Styles to start as a Royal Rumble rematch. I'm very hyped for this. Probably the loudest they've been the entire night. See, Cena and Styles had tons of great matches, to be honest.
Yeah.
But this
Also,
is
before the start, they also mentioned that Cena was attempting to equal Elimination Chamber wins with Triple H,
yes.
which I think they had. I think it's 3.
Yes.
So yeah, that was Cena's goal in this to like defending. He was trying to get trying to equal Triple H. Yeah,
Which
that's what I had to say.
Yeah. Speaking of, he still hasn't done that yet, so maybe spoilers for this time.
maybe that happens this time. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see though. We'll see. So Cena gets a better of the initial sort of matchup, but AJ's quickness gets him into a torture rack and a big spinny slam for a 2. Styles goes for a powerbomb, but Cena chucks him off and gets a sunset flip cowbomb code red thingy for a 2 count. Punches leads into a suplex backbreaker combo for 2 by Styles. Cena recovers, gets a couple of shoulder blocks and a powerbomb, but there's not enough time for cover as it's time for the next entrance, which is the Ambrose, who comes in, has a fire, takes Cena down for clothesline, chucks him into the steel chain outside the chamber for a bit of rest. Ambrose tries to suplex AJ back in from the steel bit, but he gets launched to the outside. Ambrose recovers quickly, hits a big old powerbomb outside to AJ. He climbs to the top of the pop and takes Cena out with a big old clothesline. I put triple German PWG spot, which was Cena trying to Cena suplexing both Ambrose and AJ at the same time 3 times,
which is really good.
Which is innovative, which leads to them all going down onto the mat. Dueling Let's Go Cena sucks chance as per usual.
Yep.
Cena recovers first, tries for an AA, but he brings AJ into a kick on Ambrose. He springs back off, but he then springs back off and hits a clothesline on AJ, and he escapes the AA. Which means we get our next entrance, which is Bray Wyatt, who comes in and again, as per usual, has a fire, does a load of moves at everyone. Chucks Styles into the chains from the top rope as he attempts a forearm, so he kind of chucks him out the ring. Styles gets up and gets Wyatt through the ropes in the corner for a guillotine leg drop. Cena and AJ back at it again. The AA attempt is blocks, and they both climb the cage doing the yay boo punch pot.
Yeah.
Cena comes down first onto the steel, and Styles makes his way onto the top of the pod. Dean Ambrose meets him there and chucks each other's head into the steel ropes on the side. Ambrose gets a better and tries a crossbody onto Wyatt, but he does a clothesline to counter. So it's like crossbody off the top of the pod, but Wyatt just hits it with a big clothesline. Does it awesome chance? That's great. I think you'll say that this match again has been definitely a level above pretty much everything else on the card. I'd say
it's a pay-per-view match.
Yeah, again, it feels like a pay-per-view. The Chamber always feels like a pay-per-view. I'd say. Both Ambrose and Wyatt are on the top rope, and Styles joins them from the pod into a big old superplex with AJ landing about halfway across the ring. I think Cena does superplex. And with everyone down, we get our next entrance, and it's Big Baza Corbin.
Hair Corbin.
Yeah, it's Herr Corbin. We get him and Ambrose having a scrap. Must have been a storyline. With Corbin fucking his head and rubbing Ambrose's head against the chains. A big deep six onto Ambrose. Wyatt tries and Sister Abigail on the outside to Corbin, but Corbin chucks to the Miz's pod. Styles and Corbin have a big punch off, leading to Styles getting an end of days. Cena jumps in and puts Corbin into the STF, but then breaks out of it. We get an end of days on Cena, who rolls out of the way for Ambrose to jump back in. He again gets chucked into the chains. Pod. We have Corbin, the only man left standing for the final entrant, which is The Miz, who does the usual chicken shit heel thing of wandering out so slowly. Corbin just staring at him, and he's too distracted. So we get Ambrose coming in and getting a roll up, another one on Corbin for the 3 count. Corbin then batters Ambrose. Come and batters Ambrose after he's eliminated, which is another post-match beatdown.
It's hard to count them. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, and chucks Ambrose through the empty pod and grates him against the steel. End of days onto Ambrose before Corbin wanders off, which then leads to Miz seizing the opportunity and pinning Ambrose, and have Ambrose eliminated. So it was 2 quite quick eliminations with, I don't know, the Corbin and Ambrose feud sort of moved forward, but it's never the...
at that time it was the match had been going on for like 18 minutes, and then suddenly two eliminations at once, 18 minutes, 20 minutes, so just suddenly everyone comes out and then people can get eliminated, not before, just as soon as everyone's out, and then you can. I'm trying to think, has there been a chamber match where they've eliminated someone before the last person comes out? I don't remember.
Maybe when they did Goldberg and Goldberg losing to Triple H chamber.
I'm pretty sure they've done it before. It's just I just can't recall, and it's very rare if they do that. Because they like to have.
So basically now we have The Miz as the only person kind of left pretty much unfazed. So he does some it kicks to Cena and Wyatt in the corner before doing a drop kick to both. More it kicks to AJ in the other corner, with everyone hanging up in the corner in the trio position, with Miz just doing drop kicks for everyone. Get a clothesline in the corner for Cena, and goes up to the top rope. Wyatt tries to interrupt, gets the skull crushing finale for his troubles. On the top rope, we get Miz PWGing it with a top rope crossbody, which he then fails as he gets rolled through into an A for Miz to be eliminated. So Miz was not in this match for very long.
No, he wasn't. I'm pretty sure he was in for like I'd say 4 minutes.
Yeah, like I think he was. I think he must come in just before the elimination of Ambrose. So looking at it, maybe like 5 minutes.
Yeah, about that.
But again, I suppose if you're gonna have Miz in this match, this is probably what you do. Like you kind of have him. You kind of get the chicken shit elimination. And just get him out.
Yeah, it's just nowhere near the rest at that point, so it just makes sense.
Yeah. So now we have Styles, Cena, and Bray Wyatt. Cena does the point at the WrestleMania sign, but then gets double teamed by AJ and Wyatt for a little bit, but they then pretty much immediately turn on each other as per usual.
Yeah, people do not learn to team up on Cena because previous episode we covered the whole Carlito Chris Masters and Carlito turning Chris Masters. When they very much could have got Cena out, they were very much close to getting Cena out. They didn't, and then Super Cena won.
Yes. Well, fortunately, this doesn't happen here quite as much. But Cena does recover and get his moves into both of them. Cena does the double 5 knuckle shuffle, which I've called double wank on AJ and Wyatt.
Well, that's what it means.
Yeah, it is. It is what it means. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, and then gives the A to Wyatt, but AJ counters an AA of his own into the Styles clash, which only gets 2. Styles is up first and goes to the Phenomenal Forearm, but runs right into an AA for a very, very, very close 2.999 count. Yeah. Cena climbs to the top of the pod, again, puts WrestleMania sign again, and does a flying something into Styles and Wyatt.
Yes. I wrote down a double flying nothing off the top of the pod.
Yes, which connects them.
They still fly nothing.
Yeah,
Like...
it's still flying nothing. Yeah. Yes, it's a flying. Um, uh, uh, Cena gets up and tries to put Wyatt into an A, but he counters it into a Sister Abigail and eliminates Cena.
Let's go.
Yeah, the champ is out. Right, the champ is out with 2 people to the left, and the crowd goes absolutely mental.
Big pop, pop.
Yeah, this is like whenever they do these chain matches for titles, I do kind of wish they always, assuming they're not going to retain, I do kind of wish they always kind of eliminate it like early on.
Yeah, because then you get an excitement, a buzz, like, oh, we're gonna get a new champion. You know.
Yeah, I think it was
especially when it's Cena. Like, whoa, Cena's not champion.
Yeah, it was the one where Edge went into 2 chambers in the pay per view, killing Kofi. But the first one he was in, he was like the first one eliminated, wasn't he? I think. But it's like, it like gives that sort of sense of oh shit, something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can't do it all the time, but so now we're just down to Styles and Wyatt. Ray Wyatt gets a come punches off an AJ, goes for a big old corner splash, but then gets countered into a Pele kick, which we call the red card challenge.
Yes, I think he 2-footed him.
Okay.
I think AJ 2-footed him, and I said that's a red card. Red card that.
Okay. Oh, okay. I wasn't Pele kick. Fair enough.
But I think he did Pele kick at some point. But yeah, no, I don't remember. I think it's like a basement drop kick or something.
Yeah.
It was just a literal 2-foot.
It only gets a 2 count. Which Wyatt gets out of by doing his crab thingy.
Yes.
And gets AJ in position for Abigail. Which AJ then tries to counter into a roll up for a 2. But that's then followed up for a big old Wyatt clothesline for another close 2. Styles gets a Pele kick.
There's the Pele kick.
And then gets a psycho knee.
Yep.
But doesn't go for the cover as he goes for a springboard 450 onto a prone Wyatt. He gets another 2. With Styles selling his ribs after that. From a forearm, blocked by Wyatt, and he gets him to Sister Abigail and hits it and eliminates Styles to win the title. And the crowd goes mental for. Yeah, really good.
Yeah.
Like, I think this is obviously by far the best match on the show. Very much up there in terms of chambers, I would say.
Very much so. That's the reason why I suggest this, because it's regarded as one of the best chambers, despite the error and the actual content of the pay per view as well. It's a good match, but there's also some crap on the pay per view, so it was a perfect one to suggest. But yeah, it was very much a fantastic moment, truly deserved. I can't speak higher of Bray Wyatt and how incredible he was. And deserved to be treated much better than he was, but won't be getting into that.
Yeah, I think this is very much the high point of Wyatt's WWE career. I think
one of them.
Yeah. I think this is the time he got to the top, I would say.
I mean, he did get to top again, but that is a whole different conversation with Goldberg.
No, true, yeah.
Where he got the title and lost to
Goldberg. Yeah, true. Yeah, I think maybe this is like the as Bray Wyatt. This is the best he ever got.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have to say, great match. Plenty of big spots. Yeah, it's a great chamber. Can't really say much more about it. The only thing I had was Corbin's elimination was a bit there. It was just kind of It's just kind of him staring at Miz, which then Amber. But yeah, it's only a minor thing at the end of the day. And we end the show with Orton coming out and staring at Wyatt on the ramp whilst Wyatt laughs.
Yes.
But they're still on the same side, or are they?
Yeah, it's very, very, very blatant that they're not on the same side, but
Yes.
yes.
So, what's your rating for this, and what's Big D's rating?
So I don't think I gave this a rating in the end, but it's probably like an 8, I'd say 7, or no, I'd say an 8 or a 9.
Okay.
So that's 8.5.
Yes.
Big Dave gave it 4.5,
Yeah. Which I think.
which is a 9.
Yeah. Which I think is about right. I've given 8.5 on mine as well. Yeah, so just generally good. If you're gonna watch anything from this paper, I'd say watch this and Alton Harper. Just skip everything else, basically.
Or if you hate yourself and want to be tortured, watch the
Handicap match.
the Kalisto Apollo versus Dolph Ziggler.
Yes. So have you? What's your thoughts on the show overall? I think we kind of summed.
I guess summed up a bit. Like most of it's crap, and then well, actually, the 2 of the last 3 matches were incredible.
Yeah.
See, ignoring the whole women's title match, which is nice that Naomi got it, but also it just wasn't a good match. Apart from that, like the end of the show is pretty good.
Yeah, like I do think this would probably be better suited to the way WWE does pay-per-views now, where they have a lot less matches.
Yeah.
Like I could if you cut this down to
so you can
I'd
say like 5 or 4 matches. Oh, it'd be 5 because they back then they would have only done one chamber match because women didn't exist yet.
Yeah.
So
I would say you could probably start with the SmackDown tag titles because you can kind of get people into the crowd by doing that, just sort of doing a load of good moves. And then maybe if you wanted to put Becky Lynch and Mickey James into there, you could probably easily do that as well. And then Orton Harper and the SmackDown title match, women's title match, just because it's a title.
Yeah. So so we'd cut out in consensus we'd cut out the 2-on-1 handicap match and Natalia versus Nikki.
Yeah, I would say so. And that would be a much more, I don't know, sort of just
palatable
palatable show. Yeah.
And you can also then give each match more time to breathe.
I'd say so. Yeah, like you could. I don't know. I'm not sure I'd give the tag team title match that much longer.
A little bit.
Yeah. But like you could probably give the Mickey James one a bit more well.
Yeah, I mean it was already on like it's 11 minutes, so maybe a couple more minutes.
Yeah. Like so I've given it a B- mainly because of the main event and Harper. The rest you can just skip. Have you got a particular letter rating?
I mean, if we're doing a letter rating, I'd probably give it a as a show. As a show, I'd suppose B- works quite well.
Yeah.
So I'd also give it like a 6.5 out of 10.
Yeah, which is about right. Yeah. So I think looking back on this, I think the thing that taints it slightly is the way that they kind of followed up the Bray Wyatt Orton stuff at Mania, which is the bug projection match, which was the
cool idea, very bad execution.
Yeah, like they did it in the cheapest way possible. Basically, just get a big projector and go.
Primary school projector, nicked from some assembly.
Yeah,
turned down and used to project some bugs.
Bugs onto the ring. Yeah, and I think the match itself suffered from that because it just sort of ground to a halt, basically because of spooky bugs. Yeah, and then I don't know, the feud kind of never really recovered after that. It sort of dove a bit too into. Well, trying to remember, was this the one where they did the Firefly House of Fun match? No, 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 no. It's the no, the no, not that one. I was there way later.
Yeah, they
The to go into White's house and the spooky fridge.
I think they had the white the swamp man, right?
Yeah, the swap match. Yeah,
And Randall burnt the house, right?
yeah, yeah. Burnt house down. Yeah.
Seth Rollins.
Yeah. Other than that, yeah, as mentioned, Nikki Bella and John Cena had their tag match, which John Cena proposed to Nikki Bella afterwards. I believe Naomi once again won the SmackDown Women's Tag Title at Mania in a multi-man match. Multi-woman match, I guess. I'll check though, because she did win it here. No, she did. She lost it to. She must have lost it to Nick Maxwell somehow. Maybe it'll get overturned. I don't know. But Bliss is listed as the champion going to Mania 33, and then she won it there in a match challenge. Again, it's the same vein. And yeah, kind of it really. Oh yeah, and we had AJ versus Shane McMahon, of course, on that Mania. How can I forget? So yeah, it did set up a few things. Unfortunately, the things weren't great, mostly.
Yeah.
Um,
So what happened was a couple weeks later, Naomi had to vacate the title.
Okay.
She was injured,
Okay.
but then she was able to defend. She was able to fight at Mania.
Okay.
And won it back, and then held
Yeah.
it for 140 days.
Yeah. Okay.
It was a 6-pack challenge.
Yes.
Naomi beating Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch, Carmella, Mickey James, and Natalia.
It's basically
5-minute match. Wow.
Yay. Great.
Mania, WrestleMania, everybody.
Yeah.
5-minute match.
Yes. This is also the vein that had Roman Reigns beating The Undertaker in a not very well liked match.
That was the main event, right?
Yes. What a main event. What a main event. Anyway, on that front, I think we'll leave it there. Don't worry, we're not going to do WrestleMania 33.
We could. We could.
We could do, yeah. And there's some good stuff on there, but yeah, the main event does kind of take it out of you from memory watching it when I watched it. Yeah. So, Eloise, where can we find you, socials wise?
Yes, everywhere.
Yes.
On Twitter, I don't really do much, but yes, I exist.
Yes, you do exist. It's Eloise Momo, not just Eloise.
On Twitch, gas_Eloise on there.
Oh, yeah. So
yes,
yes, and yes, you can find me. I don't know, the Malteser Falcon _ on Twitter.
Yes.
Then Mal Falcon on Blue Sky, I think.
Yes,
and then
not confusing at all.
Yes, and then I have a Twitch account. I don't stream, so
no.
If you want to follow me there, feel free. We will be back at some point. I don't
Eventually.
I don't think we figured out an actual schedule for this yet.
No,
we're not figured out what we're doing either. So we will do stuff. And yeah, we'll see you hopefully soon. Bye.